Abby.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Georgia.
And this is the Current Ladies Broadcast.
This is Georgia, reporting live from Washington, D.C. A current debate happening here in the Capitol is whether a new Supreme Court justice should be selected now or later by the new president. I want to inform you that our information on this channel is completely accurate and can be found in the Upfront Magazine's article, Justice Deferred by Patricia Smith. It was published on March 21st, 2016. Recently, our Supreme Court Justice Anthony Scalia died at the age of 79. He was put in his position by Ronald Reagan in 1986.
1986 was 30 years ago, and Scalia was one of the longest-serving members at the time that he died. He also was considered the most reserved, outspoken justice at the time.
If Obama chooses to pick the new justice, then the Republicans can block the confirmation if they all vote against his nominee. The information in the article, Justice Deferred, is impartial overall. The author chooses to continually bring up how sudden and horrible Scalia's death was. This is correct. His death was, in fact, very sudden, which is one of the reasons there is such an uproar. Smith also puts emphasis on all the politics involved.
I understand the important information about this article, but what about the author's purpose behind writing this article?
The author's purpose behind writing such an article was that we as Americans should be concerned. We need a new court justice as soon as possible, but some argue that we need to wait for the new president first. Georgia, CLV, Washington.
This is Abby Kendrick reporting live from New York City. A current uprising is the ownership of guns. In the Upfront Magazine article published on February 8th, 2016, The Gun Debate by Patricia Smith, it has shown that we have a serious issue on our hands. Controlled debates have focused on three issues: background checks for buyers, laws regulating who can carry weapons in public, and the kinds of weapons available for purchase.
Abby, why are people so worried about this issue?
Citizens say that they have the right to arm themselves for hunting, self-defense, games, or just because they want to. But others say that if so many people are carrying weapons, then there is more likely to have an everyday dispute that can turn deadly. What is your opinion, Sarah?
My opinion is that some people should have the rights to own a gun to defend themselves. My question is, why should some people not want to have a gun?
It's not a question of disarming the public, but in a matter where to draw sensible limits. I know people say, if everyone is carrying a gun outside, then that is so dangerous. But the problem is that when someone comes up to you and tries to hurt you and you don't have anything to defend yourself, what are you going to do? It says in the Second Amendment that we do have the right to bear arms.
What does our president have to say about the issue?
All of us need to demand a Congress brave enough to stand up to the gun lobby's lies. All of us need to stand up and protect its citizens. All of us need to demand governors and legislators and businesses do their part to make our communities safer. We need the wide majority of responsible gun owners who grieve with us every time this happens and feel like your views are not being properly represented to join with us to demand something better.
Modest steps that President Obama announced, the only ones he could take without approval of Congress, included trying to extend the number of gun sellers required to conduct criminal background checks, pledging to hire more people to carry out those checks, and ordering better tracking of lost guns. Where we got our information does not take sides about gun control, so that is left up to us. We should know about this information so we can be aware in the future if something happens, like if the government takes away all armed equipment or if we are left with it.
I'm definitely in agreement with you, Abby. I mean, some people just don't watch the news, so we need to get the information out there sooner or later.
Thank you. Abby Kendrick, CLB, New York.
This is Sarah Steed, reporting live from Atlanta, Georgia. In the magazine up front, the article Tambora, written by Glenn Wood, published on November 23, 2015. It states that roughly 200 years ago, the Tambora erupted. Tambora is located in Indonesia and killed nearly 100,000 people. Tambora was dominant for 1,000 years, but deep inside, churning magma, heat, and pressure had been building for 5,000 years and was ready to release. A small eruption happened on April 5, 1815. Then on April 10th, that's when the big one hit. The force of the eruption propelled the massive plume beyond the atmosphere and into the cold, dry stratosphere, eventually forming a giant stream of sulfate aerosols long enough to encircle the globe. A cloud traveled on a multi-layer, slow-motion journey toward the North and South Pole, wrapping the Earth in a veil of volcanic dust that blocked much of the sun.
Sarah, with that big explosion, there has to be effects.
And there were. The effect of the eruption confronted famine, disease, outbreaks, and mass migrations. After 3 years, migration routes were back to normal.
How did the author feel about this?
The author was not biased at all. He just gave the facts. And I think that's just what people need. They just need to hear the facts. I think that's what the author's purpose was. It was to inform readers what happened and what could be happening right now. I think the author wrote the article to teach readers about the massive effects of the eruption.
And I think that's good, so people can be aware in case something actually does happen.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why scientists are closely studying the eruption so the citizens can be aware if this does happen again. Sarah Steed, CLB, Atlanta.
And that